Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program Talk Sports on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on today's edition of the program. We saw interesting sporting activities that happened on Monday night, and aside the weekends, right? Monday nights are always are nights that I always look out for in terms of sports because you see a whole lot of actions like the upset we saw yesterday. Well, some persons didn't count it as an upset based on the fact that Liverpool have won the trophy already. So I think it's just more like a walk in the park for them. They just laid low and then allowed Brighton to defeat them 3 goals to 2. But still, during the regular season, we saw how Brighton was always a problem to Liverpool, not just Liverpool, even Chelsea, Arsenal, and Man City at some point. So we saw all of those happening last night, and which was very interesting. And here, back home, the National Sports Festival that is ongoing, defending champions of the festival, talking about Team Delta, didn't come to play this time around again because they are leading the pack with medals. Also, another interesting thing happened still yesterday where Israel Adesanya was nominated as one of the inductee for the Hall of Famers in the UFC lightweight category, which will be happening in the month of June 26th of June, 2025. And also, on the other hand, Aliou Zubairu, the head coach of the Flying Eagles, talked about the technicality that the Flying Eagles couldn't have, or more that they need to create on when it comes to like scoring goals, because that was what really happened against South Africa, and the same thing also happened against Egypt. But still, they got a consolation prize, which is the prize medal. We'll be having that conversation, and we'll be talking about NBA and what to be expecting between Timberwolves and Indiana Pacers, as we are set to have seen the game one that has been played, and it was very, very interesting. So we'll be having more of these conversations immediately after this break. Stay with us. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. Interesting question there that I had to answer before coming back on air. So, I would love you guys to partake, but maybe we'll talk about it later. Let's get into the conversation of the day as we set to talk sports. Delta takes early lead on medal table. Yes, they will always come back to prove a point as reigning champions of the Nigerian or National Sport Festival. Team Delta have wasted no time in asserting their dominance at the 2025 National Sport Festival in Abeokuta, Ogun State, surging to the top of the medal table as their quest for a fifth consecutive title gets underway. After just 2 days of the competition, Delta claimed past early leaders Team Cross River with a tally of 3 gold and 1 silver medal. The earlier haul was spearheaded by Confidence Onyema, who secured 2 gold medals in Kung Fu, while Favor Mike and Edere Aga contributed a gold and a silver in weightlifting, respectively. Team Cross River barely perched at the summit, now tailed in the second place with 3 gold medals, all courtesy of Kalu Ofia, who dominated the 55 kg weightlifting category and a lift of 94 kgs, securing a clean sweep. The festival officially kicked off with an opening ceremony on Sunday at the MKO Abiola International Stadium, but the action began in the earliest at the NYSC orientation camp in Shagamu, where weightlifting quickly emerged as the medal-rich sporting of the opening days. So looking at all of this now, we say it's already begun, and the competition is ongoing, getting intense, and Team Delta didn't come to play as they are set and ready to start clinching and winning all of these gold medals. They want to continue from the same way they start, but they have teams from Lagos, teams from River State and Akwa Ibom, and also Cross River that they will need to battle with. We're not making mention of taking away the team that came from the Federal Capital Territory and other parts of the country as well. So it's going to be a very, very interesting run out, and we just definitely see how all of that will run gave based on the fact that it will be run till the 30th of May, and a whole lot of history will be made, and then new champions might be crowned, or Team Delta will remain the same champions and go back again and plan to come back next season or next year to defend their title again. But let's see how all of this goes, because looking at it back in history, it's been a very long time that we have a back-to-back champion, and Team Delta are looking to run away with it. But still, it's still very early, and we'll see what happens as other teams and the sporting activities will be continuing today, as we'll be seeing Ogun ladies will be facing the Lagos team later today in the female badminton games that will be played later in the day, and also other competitions that will be played still as the whole games unfold. So we'll see how all of those pan out and see what will remain of the medal table at the close of business today, if Team Delta will be leading or Team Cross River will overtake them, or Team Lagos will come from behind and pull off an upset. We'll see how all of that goes. Then moving away from what is happening locally at home here, still talking about the Nigerian Haruna Quadri, who is the African's best table tennis player, and Gonda continues Africa's world title push in Doha. Nigerian's Quadri Haruna and Egypt's Hangoda has kept Africans' hope alive at the 2025 ITTF World Championship in Doha, Qatar, as they advanced to the third round of the single event in impressive fashion. This happened early hours of today, aimed at a wave of African exits on the day 3 of the championship. Haruna showed composure and class to overcome Norway's Boa Hug to 4-2 in the Gripsing men's single contest at Qatar University. The Nigerian African's top-ranked player was forced to dig deep against Hurg, whose lower world ranking built a spirited performance. Haruna took the opening sets 11-7, but the Norwegian responded with a dominant 11-3 win in the second. The match turned into a thrilling back-and-forth encounter, with Haruna winning the third 11-8, while Hall leveling again in the fourth, and the Nigerian regaining the edge in the fifth. The decisive sixth set was the match's climax. Haruna led 9-7, but Hung tallied to it at 9-9. Haruna edged by 10-9, but the Norwegian equalized once more, and then the trajectory continues. But still, at the end of the day, Haruna had the best laugh, and then he has advanced. So still, we are still expecting to see more wins and more interested, intense competition like this going on. And then that Niger spirit of not going back and not relenting will continue to, help them through. So we're saying congratulations to Haruna as he has advanced to the finals, and we would see what next would come out of the finals, based on the fact that no African table tennis player has been able to get to this fifth before and has advanced up to this level in the competition, getting to the final. So congratulations and kudos to Quadri Haruna for this magnificent performance that we witnessed. So moving away from that, 2025 Ballon d'Or ceremony is set for September the 22nd in Paris. This is one of the biggest nights of football, where you would see dignitaries, football players and fans gather to celebrate the iconic player for the season, where history will be made, and the list of individuals that have been nominated for this game, for this award, has been, less than surprising to the world of football. We have, teenagers being nominated, having the likes of Lamine Yamal being nominated, Vinicius Junior, having lots of the list keeps going on and on and on as nominees for this prestigious award. So let me bring you up to speed. France Football has officially announced that the 69th edition of the Ballon d'Or ceremony will take place on September the 22nd, 2025. The prestigious event, which honors the world's best football players, will be held at the Theatre der Châtel in Paris. The statement on the event's official poster via X reads, "Prepare to be dazzled." Of course, people get dazzled every night at the Ballon d'Or ceremony. As anticipation builds for football's most converted individual honors, the ceremony is expected to draw global attention, featuring top footballers, dignitaries, and fans all over the world. So it's almost that time of the year again where you get to see who was superb for their country and for their club side, and trophies that have been won. From what a lot of people are saying, that the favorites to win this year's Ballon d'Or is Yamal, who is just 17 years of age, and he'll be turning 18 this year, July. So he might go down in history as, one of the youngest to ever win this prestigious award before he turns 18. So that is what sport is all about. Setting records and, history being made on night in and night out. So if he does one this, then he's going to go down in history as one of the best 70-year-old player ever that have graced a football pitch. So looking at all of these likes of Pep, Messi couldn't even do it when they were 17, but he was an amazing player. We saw the likes of Maradona. They were still very amazing at their time, but not as amazing as Yamal. So we'll see how all of those pans out, and votes are coming in gradually, and we'll see what we'll be able to pan out in the next couple of months. And on this special night, we would know who will be crowned the best player of the world. So moving away from the awards, now let's talk about the Flying Eagles, where Aliyu Zubairu, that is the Nigerian head coach for the Flying Eagles, says the Flying Eagles lacks clinical edge at the front of goal. Nigerians under 20 head coach Aliyu Zubairu has acknowledged that a lack of clinical finishes in front of goal remains the team's biggest weakness, despite securing a bronze medal at the just concluded Under 20 African Cup of All Nations. Nigeria defeated Egypt 4-1 on penalties in the third-place playoffs after a 1-1 draw in relegation time. Although the team had already qualified for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, Zubairu insists that finishing the tournament on a high note was important, reflecting on the bronze medal finish. Zubairu described it as a consolation prize, admitting that it was not the team's original target, but a welcome result nonetheless. Nonetheless, they have something to come back home with, but despite not having what they actually went for, because preparation actually happened properly this time. So we're glad that we're not having conversations around the fact that lack of preparation and lack of adequate providing of pitches and things that are required for the players to use to train was all provided. So we are not having that conversation this time. Now it has to do with the team and the coach and the whole player. So they need to create more ways on how to be clinical and score goals when they're in front of goal against their opponents. Because if they go to the World Cup with this set of guys, we know that they have experience of, fighting through and going through the group stage, getting through the quarterfinals and advancing to the semifinals, but not getting to the finals. Now, experience is there. We've seen where Aliyu Zubairu says that he's going to overhaul the entire team. Fans and analysts are of the opinion not for him not to totally overhaul the whole squad, but have other team bring in new guys and then have the old players that are more experienced, that have been in situations where they require most of experience to be able to scale through. So having all of those now and having those team members and having new guys is something that's actually going to help them. But moving on, before we have this conversation around the Euro finals that we're playing tomorrow between Tottenham and Manchester United, let's go on a quick break and we will be right back. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. This is still Talk Sport. Now let's talk Euro finals, where Ange Postecoglou, that's talking about the head coach of Tottenham, fights to avoid being sacked by the management. That's if he doesn't get to win Europe finals, the Europa finals. Excuse me. So I don't know. Coaches have been in similar conditions like this before. We've seen Eric Ten Hag. He's though not technically Europa, but FA Cup finals against Manchester United and Manchester City. This happened like a season ago, where Manchester United management placed an embargo saying if he doesn't get to win the FA Cup, he's going to be fired. But fast forward, he won it and he was around for a few months, and then Van Nistelrooy came in, and then now we're seeing a different coach now for Manchester United. So now let me bring you up to date with this story. And Postecoglou can end Tottenham's 17 years trophy drought by winning Europa League final against Manchester United. But even victory in Bilbao on Wednesday might not be enough to save him from the sack. Beating United to break the silverware curse and earn a place in next season's Champions League would be a significant moment in Tottenham's recent history. The North London club haven't won a major trophy since beating Chelsea in 2008 League Cup final, while their last European silverware came in the 1984 UEFA Cup. But Postecoglou, that's talking about Ange now, has presided over such a miserable Premier League campaign that the Tottenham boss head to St. Mains Stadium with his future hanging in the balance, regardless of the result. So, since minds have been made already, we've seen different coaches in similar situations. Like I rightly mentioned earlier, we've seen Eric Ten Hag for Manchester United being faced with the same situation, and we saw the best coming out from him at a point where he was able to defeat, his team was able to defeat Manchester City, and the players also played for him so as for him to have his job, so as he doesn't just get fired immediately. But fast forward, it did still continue based on the fact that he had players who are on loan and player concerns and injuries as well at the time. Now, Tottenham is facing the same thing with Ange at not enough star powers, the little ones that they have, the few that are healthy, not the team players that would be able to carry a team all through to advance and even win from the EPL. That's talking about contesting for the EPL title. So looking at those angles now, it boils down to this singular fact. If Tottenham gets to win this, there's a high chance that, of course, automatically they are champions, so they are heading to the Champions League. Then, if Manchester United also wins, they are also heading to the Champions League. And this team, take a quick look at the standings of the EPL, because Manchester United are sitting around 15th or 16th position on the standing. Tottenham, the same thing still. All of these things now is actually facilitating and also contributes. Let's look at Liverpool. Liverpool having 83 points. Automatically, they have been crowned champions weeks before now. Arsenal following suit. Newcastle also following suit. Chelsea sitting at the same position with Newcastle. There's still a shaky movement from the number third position down to number 6, because if you can see, and you can all agree with me, that the points margin and difference is not actually much. So from Newcastle, Chelsea, Aston Villa and Manchester City, 2 out of these teams will be going to the Champions League, which is going to be very, very crucial. Then if you go down continuously, you see Manchester United in the 16th position with 39 points, and also Tottenham with 38 points in the 17th position. So it's just 1 point difference, and these two teams has a game in hand still to play. So looking at the standings now, these two teams, either of them can actually make it to the Champions League from this down position. That's if they get to become champions. That's either Manchester United can win it and advance. Tottenham can also win it and advance to the Champions League. So that is what the standings is looking as you can all see. Basically, there are just a few teams have one more games to play, and then by next week, the EPL for 2024 and 2025 season will be coming to an end. And at that point, I would know who is advancing, and then the transfer window would be fully open as we're seeing conversations and teams looking to, tighten their squad and, make some corrections from the error they made this season to see how well they can be able to do next season. So looking at those now, it's still very, very open. There's a whole lot of 90 minutes of football that will be played tomorrow between Manchester United and Tottenham for who would find its way to the UEFA Champions League for the 2025 and 2026 season. So moving away from that, still talking EPL, Brighton stunned Liverpool with a late 3-2 comeback. So the same thing happened where just the past weekend where Arsenal had to come from behind and level with Liverpool at 2-2. Now, Brighton's Jack Ashworth sealed a dramatic 3-2 victory against Liverpool in the EPL, that's talking about the Premier League champions, without a win since clinching the title. Aaron Scott's side took the lead, although through having Elliott's early opener before Jens Ansari equalized at the Amex Stadium. Dominic Swansea restored Liverpool's advantage just before the interval, but Brighton staged a late fight back as Curso Montoma leveled before Hans Wood came off the bench and net the first with his first touch. Liverpool have taken just 1 point from their 3 matches following a title clinching rout of Tottenham on April the 27th. So you can see how long ago Liverpool became champions, almost over a month ago, while the game was still going on. So it shows how hungry and how determined it was. It has taken them a long time to clinch a title like this, and then they've clinched their 20th in a grand fashion. So looking at all of these standings now, I think they're just giving away goals and giving away points to teams that requires to get this point so as they will stay at a very good level when it comes to the EPL standings and qualifying for next season's playoff games and UEFA Champions League. I think that's just what's currently going on with Liverpool, because they have obviously nothing to lose based on the fact that they're champions already. So moving away from that, Lamine Yamal is set to take Lionel Messi's iconic number 10 jersey. I think it's time already, as he is getting set to sign a new deal worth €1 billion. Lamine Yamal will reportedly inherit Lionel Messi's iconic number 10 shirt at Barcelona after signing a new contract with the club at the end of this summer. Despite only being 17, Yamal has emerged as a Ballon d'Or contender this season after winning the Euros with Spain last year, and is widely viewed as the game's biggest talent since Messi burst onto the scene almost 20 years ago. Similarity have been drawn between the pair, and Yamal now looks set to follow in Messi's footsteps once again. Yamal will celebrate his 18th birthday in July by signing a new long-term contract with Barcelona that will contain a €1 billion release clause. The deal will also see Yamal handed the number 10 shirt, which is currently occupied by Ansu Fati. Fati is facing an uncertain future at Barcelona and will have the former's jersey taken off him by Yamal, who has been doing using the number 19 shirt this season. So Yamal is just ready, and automatically, of course, that jersey number 10 has been won by a lot of icons, talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, talking about Ronaldinho, talking about Lionel Messi, and the name continues like that. Ansu Fati was also looking like the future of Barcelona at some point before injury worries set in, and injuries can be one of the things that can actually diminish and bring down the player's momentum. Injury worries came in, he now went on loan and then came back, and his future is still uncertain with Barcelona. He might be shipped off on loan again, or he might get traded. So looking at Yamal now, he is set. I think he is doing more than enough to wear that number 10 jersey. But let's see what happens as, the contract gets signed, as he turns 18 and as next season unfolds. But this young man is yet to even get into his prime, so I'm just so happy for him and await what will happen in the nearest future. Then let's move away from that and have a quick conversation around UFC, where Israel Adesanya Hall of Fame induction holds June 26th. And afterwards, we'll then have a quick conversation around the NBA playoffs as we're getting set to see all the games being played. Israel Adesanya's UFC Hall of Fame induction ceremony, alongside other members of the 2025 class, will hold on Thursday, June the 26th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, USA. The UFC announced the date on Monday as the former two-time UFC middleweight champions epic 2019 five-round Instagram title clash with Kelvin Gastelum at the UFC 236 will be enshrined in the promotion fight wing as part of the 2025 class. According to announcement, all proceeds from ticket sales will benefit the UFC's foundation, with the events marking the organization's annual resignation of its most influential contributors and historic battles, just like what happened between Israel Adesanya and his compatriots. So the recognition is for the most influential contributors and historic battles, and battles are something that we always see in the UFC. Congratulations to Israel at this feat, getting inducted. It shows so much powers, and then he has proven points that he's meant to be in this stage as one of the best of the best in his weight class. The first ever time he suffered a defeat was when he went away from his weight class and tried to do it with the bigger boy stable, and he got handed his first loss. But without that being spoken, Israel Adesanya is very great and has been one of the greatest of all times in his weight class, being the two-time champions. And not just being champions, he held the title for a very long time, came back and then lost it, went back, did his homework, came back again and had a historic fight that helped him win back the title, and he remained the champion at the time. So moving away from that, let's have a quick conversation around NBA playoffs. And before we get into NBA playoffs, let's talk about Abuja City League playoffs that is coming up. And also, we have BAL playoffs too that will be coming up next month. So range of playoffs are around the corner. Abuja City League playoffs will be coming up by next month. BAL playoffs also will be coming up by next month. And teams are gearing up for Abuja City League. Teams are gearing up to, go into the next phase of the battle, as from this point now we would know who would be able to be crowned the city champions, as they also get themselves ready to go into the Division 1 and Division 2, and also the Nigerian Basketball Premier League that will be coming up later in the year. And then on the other hand, we'll know who will become the champions of Africa, where we'll be seeing playoffs happen between Rivers Hoopers and other teams from Africa, other basketball teams from African countries, where they'll be facing each other in Rwanda, Kigali, and also they'll be playing the finals in the month of July in South Africa, Pretoria, South Africa. That is where it will be happening. So there's just a whole lot happening. So currently in the world of basketball, currently the NBA now, currently we can see that the finals are here, where we saw Denver Nuggets being defeated by OKC Thunders to advance into the finals because Timberwolves knocked out Golden State Warriors. And now we'll be seeing Timberwolves and OKC Thunders facing each other in the Western Conference Final. And then in the East, we are seeing Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks battle it out in the finals. Now, the OGs, the likes of LeBron James, Stephen Curry, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kawhi, all of these guys have been knocked out by this youngest. Yes, the youngest, talking about Anthony Edwards, talking about Alexander Shai, talking about also Carl Anthony Towns. All of these young guys are ready and knocking off the OGs, and now they are ready to win their first title. No team among these four, no super team has actually won. That's talking about these teams are in the finals, talking about Timberwolves and OKC Thunders. None of these teams, none of these young guys, talking about Alexander Shai and Anthony Edwards, none of them have won their first title, have won a ring. So now I think it's a time for them to do it. The same with Indiana Pacers and also New York Knicks. Nobody has won. The young guys play now, none of them have won. So the momentum is high for them, and then they are hungry, and it's playoffs. It's a young squad, so we'll see how all of them will pan out. But before, we wrap up today's edition of TalkSport, I want to bring you the live highlights from the game one between Minnesota Timberwolves and OKC Thunders. Enjoy. We'll be right back.